Welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Tyler for week 7. Today we're going to break down the project. It's a big one this week, so you want to get started early. You'll find the directions under Module 7 under the Create an Academic Success Plan. When you click on it, it's going to give you an overview that outlines the different things you're going to touch on as part of the project. So completing a schedule, identifying tasks, setting priorities, looking at resources, and revising your mission and goals, and talking about how you're going to implement those. As you continue to scroll down, you'll see the template here, which you can download and edit. I know several of you like to type up your own documents, and that's fine. However, this template is really elaborate. So it's better to use this template, or if you are going to type it up, it needs to follow the same pattern because there's a time management chart and it asks a lot of very specific questions. So to make sure that you get the most points and you answer everything that's there, I really encourage you to use the template. You can also click on the project example. This is a fantastic resource. This gives you basically what we're looking for in each part of the project. The top part will be a time management plan. Pick a week from this semester and outline what you did. We want to see details about not just only what you do for school, but also your work, your job, family obligations, social activities, and so forth. So you'll see here the student put in a lot of different information about what they did, whether it was social, whether it was work, and whether it was school. As you continue on, you'll see that they have put in time for working on classwork. We expect that you have about 10 hours worth of coursework for the whole week for each class. We know that some weeks that varies, but that's about the average time that we're going to expect you to work on the class. Now, the one thing I really look for and will get you the most points is that you don't just list schoolwork or work on class stuff or study. You keep it very generic. Instead, you list specific tasks that you're going to do during that study time. So here we say read new module, read the textbook, work on discussion post, come in and do discussion replies. By doing this, it's easier to hold yourself accountable as well as plan out your time. Actually saves you time in the long run, kind of gets you into a routine. And so I'm going to look and say, hey, you know what? You didn't start anything until Thursday. That's kind of risky. Or when are you working on your discussion replies? As you continue on through, it's going to ask you to identify unplanned scheduled interruptions. This could be things like getting distracted by playing on your phone, social media, watching TV or movies, video games, whatever. Could be things like, the fact that you might have children and that they wake up in the middle of the night, or they get sick, or they have to be picked up from school, or they have activities that they're small and they take a lot of work to watch. It could also be things like a fluctuating work schedule. If all of a sudden you have to work later than you thought, or you get called in on the weekends, or maybe your schedule changes every week and it's hard to develop a consistent pattern. Those are things that we want to talk about and identify so that you can kind of come up with a backup plan to address those. When you're talking about choosing between two tasks or events at the same time on your schedule. So maybe you need to be at two places at once. Maybe you've got a family function and a soccer game, or you've got to have a couple different assignments all due on Sunday. Which ones are you going to start early? How are you going to determine which one is more important or what can be moved off? This could be looking at things. We want to see what kind of criteria do you use to establish which one takes a priority. Is that because it's something that's work related and is inflexible? Is it something that you could do later on? Is it just purely something fun and social? Next is identifying some resources from SNHU, so like the tutoring center, written feedback, career services. Your social supports. Social supports are people in your life that are not associated with SNHU. So this could be family members, friends, coworkers, community mentors, and so forth. And then what kind of motivational things are encouraging you to go to SNHU and keep you in school, keep you enrolled? So is that meeting your dream job, making a better life for your family? Talk about how managing your time and using these resources will really help you get on board with your goals and your mission and help you take ownership of it. How will using tutoring help you manage your time? How will interacting with your family and using your social support and your motivational factors help you manage that time? And how can you manage your time so that you use those? All right, next we're moving on to revising your mission statement and goals. So a couple weeks ago, we had you draft up a mission statement and some goals. Go back and read that feedback. I gave you recommendations, so if it wasn't quite detailed enough, if it wasn't following the SMART format where it's specific, measurable, achievable, relatable, and timed, we're going to really want you to go in and tweak those. So if you're saying, I want to study more, well, what do you mean by more? Because today that could be 5 minutes and tomorrow that could be 10 minutes. That's studying more, but is that enough that you need? So setting very specific things like, I want to study 2 hours a week. I can go back at the end of the week and say, hey, I studied for 2 hours. 2 hours is very specific, 2 hours is measurable, and 2 hours is timed. I want to make A's in my classes, because what a good grade could be to one student, a student might be perfectly fine with getting a C, and another student might not be happy with a C. So define what a good grade is to you. Here we've got the importance of setting goals. So how will these goals motivate you and keep you on track? You can go back and kind of look through the different discussion posts, read what your classmates wrote, look what you wrote, read their replies, and kind of craft up your own explanation of how that is helpful. Next, we're talking about specific SNHU resources that you'll use. I want you to find specific ones, not just listing academic services or academic support, because that's the broad overarching division that helps with a lot of these different resources. So listing specific things like the Writing Center, written feedback, 24/7 tutoring, the SNHU help with the mental health services, things like that. We want to see those specific details. What kind of academic skills are going to help you achieve that goal? So here we've got the example of the Writing Center. That's perfect. Also, what kind of social supports do you have? Is this that your family, helps you manage your time and stay on track? Is this maybe a manager at work that can serve as a role model and it could help you network? What motivational factors are encouraging you to reach for those mission and goals? So giving your children a better life. Maybe it is showing them the importance of education. Is it finding your dream job? Next, we'll say, and this is the final part, is kind of wrapping it up all together. So how will you take ownership of using those resources, academic skills? You understand that there's so many things out there, and so you want to provide a better life for your family, and giving a little background and saying, taking ownership of this will help me, and this is how to achieve my mission and goals. So I encourage you to dive into the example here. It's got a lot of great opportunities to see what kind of detail I'm looking for. If you have questions or concerns, you can always reach out to me. I encourage you to get started early. It does take a while to knock all this out. And if you get it completed by Wednesday and you want to send it to me, feel free to email it to me and I'll be glad to look over it and give you my thoughts so you have time to edit it. Have a great week.